What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back in with a new video. And today, it is time that we continue to discuss the 2024 Republican presidential primary. As guys, the bad headlines continue to come for Governor Ron DeSantis, as top donors are getting soured on DeSantis so much that they're starting to look at Tim Scott, a guy in 4th and 5th place in most polls. This is a disaster for Team DeSantis, and it makes you wonder, at what point does DeSantis say, enough is enough, I'm out? Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description and down below, and of course, join the channel today. Guys, just for $3 a month, now only one, you can join the channel today, which is a phenomenal deal as help support the daily content which we all know and love. So I hope and recommend you join the channel today. Alright, everybody, enough promotion stuff. Let's get into it. So yeah, top donors, some of the biggest hitters in the Republican Party, they're saying this is done. It's over. We got to start looking for somebody else. Now, again, I know I'm making a lot of videos about Ron DeSantis and stuff, but this just keeps piling up. I mean, I gotta report it. If Trump had awful news like this, I'd be talking about it. But guess what? So far, he hasn't. And of all the other candidates, the only serious bad news has been coming for Ron DeSantis. With Ron DeSantis stalling in the Republican presidential primary, some wealthy donors who'd hoped he could beat Donald Trump are now giving Tim Scott a serious look. Billionaire businessman Ronald Lauder, the Estee Lauder, makeup heir who supported Trump in 2020, recently flew to South Carolina to meet with Scott, the state's junior senator and long-shot presidential candidate, according to 3 people aware of the late June meeting. So, yeah, this is already a bad sign for Governor DeSantis, because a lot of the money that he's been getting has been from big donors and from the fact that he laundered a bunch of money from his governor campaign. Either way, it's a different story for a different time. But either way, Tim Scott, I actually understand why they're looking at somebody like Scott. Because unlike Pence, unlike, DeSantis, he's likable. He's somebody that I can say, I disagree with him on quite a bit, but at least I can like him. He's at least charismatic. DeSantis? No. I mean, his campaign's been awful. He's been focusing on nonsense. I mean, even the big donors realize, dude, what are you doing? The meeting comes amid widespread angst among wealthy GOP backers about the emerging 2024 field, and DeSantis' bumpy start in particular. Many high-dollar donors in Trump's native New York City have tired of the former president and worry about his general election chances, even though polling shows Trump up by a couple points nationally, and a new poll out in North Carolina up by 9, Georgia up by 2, and with the added factor of Cornel West running. This is idiotic to say that, but fine. Let's just say they think DeSantis is more electable, whatever. But they say their faith in the Florida governor has been shaken by early campaign missteps and his hardline positions on abortion, transgender rights, and other culture war issues. They fear time is running out for anyone else to break through. Now, the transgender stuff, I don't think he's kind of just what every Republican is. I think he's been way more vocal about it, in particular the culture war stuff. But yeah, the abortion stuff. Now, as many of you know, I am somebody that believes life starts at conception. But I even understand Trump's position on abortion is the most popular. We got to find a consensus, but Let's focus on banning late-term abortion. I agree with that. I think, if the state of Alabama wants to ban it for everybody, yeah, they should. But there needs to be some kind of restriction on late-term abortion as of now. That's my opinion on it. Now, let me be 100% clear. Trump has never been the most conservative on, say, abortion, say, the LGBT stuff, but I think he is slowly waking up to it. He obviously has. But it's like, I even understand, especially on abortion, Trump's position is the most popular. Focus on late-term abortion, then we could worry about the earlier stuff later. Now, several donors are starting to be more seriously mauled backing Tim Scott, a more traditional Republican alternative to the populist and combative Trump and DeSantis. I wouldn't call DeSantis populist. He's running a very bland, very generic campaign. He's not focusing on the establishment. He's not focusing on drain the swamp. He's not really having populist rhetoric. And combative? Really? Going to war with 16-year-olds on Twitter, that's combative? Trump I agree with, but DeSantis? During their nearly hour-long discussion at a restaurant in Daniel Island, just outside Charleston, Lauder and Scott discussed what the senator sees as his path to victory. The two have spoken since their initial meeting, including in recent days, according to a person familiar with the conversation. Lauder, who declined to comment on the meeting, plans to get together with Scott again as he decides whether to cut him a check, one of the three people confirmed. He's also interested in speaking with other candidates, the person said. The Lauder's surveying of the field appears sparked by his souring on DeSantis. He had donated $200,000 to DeSantis' initial gubernatorial run and $10,000 to a super PAC supporting his re-election last year. And DeSantis visited him several months ago to pitch his candidacy. The Cosmetics Tycoon is not alone in the shift. A lot of donors that I've met are all curious and want to meet Tim and see what he's about, said Andy Sabine, a metal mogul and Republican contributor. He's the one guy running who's got some personality and charisma. His delivery is terrific. I agree with that. With Tim Scott, I'm not the biggest fan of him, obviously. I think he sucks on criminal justice stuff. Absolutely. But at least with him, he's likable. I can listen to one of his rallies and be like, I can at least stay awake. He's at least talking with people. He's going on the crowd, meeting people. Not just this awkward, scripted DeSantis stuff. That's the big difference between Tim Scott and DeSantis. Scott's at least charismatic. DeSantis better on issues, yes, but Scott's far more has just personality. That's true. Sabine was initially planning to support DeSantis' White House bid, but shifted allegiances to Scott during the spring. In an interview with Politico on Wednesday, Sabine said he is planning to host a fundraiser for Scott next month at his home in the Hamptons. He is donating the maximum allowable amount to Scott's campaign, and said he intends to give to his super PAC. So this is it just keeps piling on for DeSantis. Scott has also supported abortion restrictions, saying he would sign the most conservative abortion bill that would reach his desk. But he has not explicitly stated his support for a national ban earlier than 15 weeks of pregnancy. No Republican, in my opinion, can win a national election unless they believe in at least a 15-week abortion window, because women vote, Sabine said. No, that thinking's dumb, because more women are pro-life than men. Based on most polling, at least. But I agree that focus on late-term stuff on a federal ban, but still let states, ban abortion earlier. I agree with that. The major donors are still open and still looking, said one Republican who works closely with New York's moneyed class. They originally were with DeSantis. They're looking for other options, and Tim Scott right now is probably their top target. New York donors are not a reflection of the Republican Party at large, and are often invested in candidates with a more moderate approach than the GOP base supports. But their anxiety about DeSantis does pose a major threat to the financial base that he was hoping to build in his effort to take on Trump. And it illustrates the larger concerns among the establishment that he hasn't quite met the expectations of him. DeSantis has proven himself as a prodigious fundraiser and indicated as much in a statement on Wednesday. Our campaign is grateful for tens of thousands of grassroots supporters and major donors who have made it possible for us to build an unmatched organization in the early nominating states with the ability to compete for the long haul, campaign spokesperson Andrew Romeo said. But it's like, okay, yeah, you gain small donors because people know who you are. Here's the problem with that. All your money is coming from big donors right now. It's not like Trump where, yeah, a chunk of it is coming from bigger donors, but he at least has a serious grassroots base. With DeSantis, if these big donors go, he's done. He has no money left. Yes, he has $100 million in the bank, but it's like, how much are you willing to spend without even more backing? But yeah, it just keeps going. You read the rest of this article, and you realize that DeSantis, all of his big donors are fleeing to Scott, or at least somebody else. And you look at the fundraising for the quarter, Trump's team said the former president's joint fundraising committee raised more than $35 million in the second quarter. The DeSantis campaign said it raised $20 million. And a super PAC backing the governor announced it had raised $130 million since early March, a number that includes an $82.5 million transfer from a Florida political committee affiliated with DeSantis. So that's not even that good, because the vast majority came from the money laundering scheme that he pulled in 2022, which I'll get into in a future video. But either way, this is just some baffling developments for DeSantis. Like, what are you doing? How do you expect to win when you are losing your biggest supporters, big donors? This was always his strategy. Get the big donors on his side, get a shitload of money, and then you can try to build out the grassroots. But even the establishment is realizing this guy's incompetent, or at least his campaign is. So, again, it seems like a lot of people are going to flee to Tim Scott, which we just got to see what happens. But, again, I'm hoping that DeSantis just drop out. You're losing donors to Tim Scott now, who's in fifth? What does that tell you? His campaign's not that stable. That's what it says. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Thank you so much. Godspeed to all of you.